Hello everybody. Well, today I've stopped at the Hubble trading post. It's the longest actively used trading post on the Navajo reservation. And a little backstory, that in early 1860s the government annexed the New Mexico territory, which Arizona is part, and they came out, and the Navajo resisted them taking their land, so they enlisted, I can't remember the other guy's name, but Kit Carson gave the order for the army to come through and burn every homestead, kill every animal, burn every crop, and drive the Navajo to tell them they had to go to Fort Defiance. And when they all gathered there, well, most of them gathered there. Those who didn't were hunted down and killed. They were just fighting to keep their land. And when they got to Fort Defiance, they marched them what they call the Long Walk of 400 miles to Fort Sumner, which is over in New Mexico, where they ended up staying 4 years. The ones that didn't get killed and wandered around here homeless basically for 6 years, always in fear of the army catching up to them because they would get killed as renegades. When they were at Fort Sumner, they tried to farm. The land there is terrible for farming. Basically, they lived in rough holes in the ground. It's a sad, very dark part of our history, but it's something that we should know about. People have heard of the Trail of Tears, but I hadn't heard of the Long Walk. Anyway, while over in Fort Sumner, Mr. Hubble, who he got to know the people, and he learned the language, and he spent a lot of time translating Navajo to English and Spanish, and became friends with the leaders. And when they were finally allowed to return here, he was encouraged to open up a trading post. Now, the Navajo had always traded, and they did, so they traded, but they didn't have money. And a lot of the traders that came to the reservation weren't honest. Hubble was honest with them. He would keep the family's books, and once he helped them get their sheep herds back up and going. So by the 1880s, they were able to be making blankets, and he would take them in trade for other items, Americano items, stuff that the Navajo didn't even have names for. But him and his family encouraged other people to come here. You can see that all the trees here. There's a wash that goes nearby here. He dug a pond, had canals for his own crops, and the Navajos saw how that was working. A lot of them built around nearby, had their fields nearby, and kept incorporating that kind of system in. Became a thriving community, and he was a member of that community, and well respected. And his family stayed on. He lived till 1930, but his family ran the trading posts even after that. I'm not sure when. I believe it's still sort of active in here, but let's go take a look inside. There's a lot of his house is back there. There's a lot of buildings. They're doing some renovation down that way, so we can't look at the barn and the corral, but oh well. So if you wanted authentic Navajo rugs, this would be the place to come. They're all beautiful, but I can't afford them. So even this little one here is like $325, just so you'll know. But oh, nice display of guns. So I'm over at the house, and nice big screened-in porch, and I remember as a kid swinging on a swing like that. It'd be a nice spot to catch a breeze in the shade. I think that's called Hubble Hill, and that's where him and his wife are buried. But tried going in one door, couldn't. Let's see if I can get in this door. Maybe they're not open. I like the latch. Nope. That's a cool latch. So this is a cool oven. That's the firebox. Pipes, hot water maybe, clean out the ash. Actual place to bake. Patented in 1902, new model oven door. I don't think I need an oven quite that big, because it's huge. But it's an idea. This is a decent chicken house. And again, looks like they're doing some work over there. Oh, nice little workshop. But all little outbuildings. And of course, sheep. I know when I was coming down from Utah, there was a lot of sheep, southern Utah, and these guys need to be clipped. It's that time of year. A beautiful spot to set up. And I'm sure the fact that there was water was a major factor. You can tell by the green. This is the Colorado Wash. So this would have been the source of the water. And again, with all this greenery, and I'm sure his pond was able to keep the have a better source of water than because right now it's dry. I'm sure, although it looks damp down in there. This is a Guesthogan. It was built in 1934, about 4 years after he died, and it's still used. Some volunteers and sometimes visiting artists will stay in there. And they got this little gazebo that I'm sure is just a nice, cool spot in the heat of the summer with all the vines growing up around it. You know, and they got the bench all around, nice table. So it's an idea that I may incorporate. I don't know. And the original trading post that was here was the building was down somewhere in this area, or maybe it was over just over there where I parked. Hubble's original trading post was about 2 miles north of here, I think, and then he bought this established trading post here, and the town that grew up, the village that grew up around it, he named after his friend Granado, I think I'm pronouncing it Granado Mucho, who was one of the leaders that led the people back from Fort Sumner to their ancestral lands. And I've been calling them Navajo the whole time. I really should be calling Dene, which is what the people call themselves. But this area, anyway, there is a Pueblo style building somewhere nearby, but because it's so fragile, we're not allowed to visit it. But it's just shows people have been living in this area, obviously water, for thousands of years. And they do give tours of the house, but it's scheduled tours it's a fee, limited like 15 people, and a tour bus just pulled in, so I'm going to guess that they're going to suck up the available spaces on that. And I don't know what that costs. The actual visiting here is free, but look at this. Just wander back through this cool gate. I wonder what that little structure was. Oh, nice. Right out of the house, straight over into the trading post. Some sort of storage, I am sure. Or the house is built into the hillside, and I got a little, oh, he's gone, a little lizard running around. But this would have been all warehouse, probably still is to some extent. Like I said, they're doing some renovations and stuff on the barn. Interesting method. Big beams, smaller wood across, and back in the day it was probably earth packed on top of it. Nowadays probably more modern, but Anyway, I think I'll leave it at this and contemplate building a big bread oven like that. Anyway, I think I'm gonna get back on the road, and the next video should be interesting. It's a place I didn't even know about, but the type of structure that we're gonna go visit has been on my bucket list for a very, very long time. So I'll see you next week with that one. Be safe, my friends.
Jumped off the wagon.